Hi everybody, my name is Emily and I've got a 45-minute flow to share with you today. A couple of things before we start. If you have blocks at home, fabulous. If you don't, obviously, write a book will work fine. Maybe a soup can, a big thing of applesauce, anything that you can just kind of hold on to bring the ground a little bit further up. You're welcome to use a strap or a towel if you know that this particular arm bind is tough to get with the hands. And other than that, the rest is up to you. I've got these goofy headphones on so that I can follow along to the music I had in mind when I planned this sequence. So if you'd like to follow along with that, there is a link. You're also welcome to put on any type of music that you like. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to offer seated today, but you are of course welcome to begin in any position that's comfortable. It might be lying on your back, might be child's, or maybe an easy seat sounds good. If you are coming into seated and you've got your blocks, sometimes that can feel really nice underneath the hips to just lift the hips a little bit and take some pressure off your knees. And so wherever you're choosing to start your practice today, just make sure that it's comfortable. Right, and no need to overthink that. You know when something feels good or doesn't feel good, so permission to wiggle around until you find a way to begin that just feels really grounded, really steady. And if it's okay for you, you might try on what it feels like to close your eyes here. And if that doesn't feel great, welcome to just keep a soft gaze at one thing, maybe the palms of your hands. And in the same way you noticed what posture was most comfortable for you to begin in, also just continue that noticing all throughout the body here. So whatever shape you're in, just observing how your body is feeling today. From here you might shift your attention onto what you're bringing in mentally today. So perhaps noticing the pace of your thoughts in this moment. Even assigning an adjective to describe those thoughts. From here you might let your attention drift to the breath that you're bringing with you today. In these first few moments of class, really just notice what is wholly present here in the mind, in the body, in the breath, really resisting the urge to run away from it or to change it, and just kind of moving with what really is here. And yoga gives us this tremendous power to be at peace with all of these things, but to also deliberately refocus attention on an intention. So take a moment to notice if there's a particular intention or maybe a dedication that you'd like to practice with in mind today. So that could be a word, it could be a phrase, it could be an idea, it could be a person. Take some time here. And it might be that there's nothing really coming up for you today. That's perfectly fine. If it resonates for you, I'm going to offer this idea of really refocusing your attention throughout your practice to this beautiful union of breath and movement. And so when other thoughts start to come up, as they inevitably will, give yourself permission to kind of like tuning an old radio, tune back into breath and body. So getting rid of the static. So from here, we'll seal all of those intentions in with a deep collective breath in through the nose. Long exhale out the mouth. 2 more just like that. Breath in, fill the belly, fill the ribs, fill the chest. And then equally long exhale out the mouth, squeeze empty. 1 more just like that, deepest, fullest breath of the day. Longest, most luxurious exhale. And know that I'm going to offer a flow and a pace, but you are welcome to modify it, change it, skip things, add things as feels appropriate throughout your practice. So always keeping in touch with what is true in your body and honoring that above any other cue or directive I might offer today. So notice if you would like to stay here longer in stillness, or if you're ready to move on, go ahead and gently flutter the eyes open. If you're on blocks, you might want to take them to the side and we'll find a simple, easy seat cross-legged here. From here, on a breath in, lift the arms up, really getting long from waist to fingertips. And then on an exhale, start to arc over to the left. And then from here, you might walk your left palm out further if you like, or you can keep it closer to the body, whatever feels good. Option to hang right here, just finding this beautifully open line in the side body. Or if you like, maybe take your right shoulder a little bit toward the back wall to open up the shoulder. 1 more big breath in. Stay for a breath out. Breath in, come on back to center. And then on an exhale, we'll find that same stretch on the opposite side. So again, option to walk the right palm out further. Maybe keep it closer to you. Whatever just feels good. And then from here, same option as before to take your left shoulder maybe a little bit toward the back wall. That would feel nice. Staying here for 1 more big breath in. Full breath out. Breath in, come on back to center. And on an exhale, we'll find a twist, wherein you'll take your right palm to your left knee, and your left palm will come behind you. 2 options for that left palm. It might feel nice to have it rest on your low back, or maybe if you can, snake it around the opposite hip. But letting this twist feel gentle, it's early in your practice, so notice maybe if you took this variation and it's a little bit too much, just back right off. You're never stuck anywhere. Really staying in touch with how these offerings and postures are landing in your body, and giving yourself full permission to change them. 1 more big breath in, grow long. Exhale, come on back to center and just give your spine a minute to reset here, maybe noticing what, if anything, that did for your spine. From here, breath in, arms reach. And on an exhale, we'll find that twist on the opposite side. So again, with your back right palm could rest on the mat, could rest on your low back, maybe snake it around the opposite hip if that would feel good. And then using the power of the breath to support the movement here. So on a breath in, really imagining going long, long, long. And on an exhale, maybe twisting ever so slightly deeper. But again, noticing if it's too intense and backing off. 1 more big breath in here. Exhale, unwind, unwrap, give yourself a minute right here. From here, we'll find a tabletop. So to come into tabletop, looking for your wrists to be underneath your shoulders and your knees to be underneath your hips. In terms of the toes, you might tuck them or maybe let the shoelace side of your foot rest on the mat, whatever feels better. Wanting this to feel steady and stable. So if it's feeling wobbly, find a wider base with the knees. And then from here, breath in, drop the belly, lift the gaze. And on an exhale, curve and coil the spine. Flowing with breath here. Breath in, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, curve and coil the spine. So from here, I'm going to stop cueing breath so that you can really follow the breath that is in your body. So linking your inhale with a dropped belly and a lifted gaze. And your exhale with that opposite motion in the spine. Maybe even closing the eyes here so that you can really attune to how breath is moving in your body. So coordinating that drop of the belly with the deepest point of your inhale and the curving and coiling of the spine with that fullest point of your exhale. Also notice, indulge curiosity if this wants to become maybe some hip wags side to side, or maybe taking it into a child's, flowing it back into tabletop, really getting back in touch with what feels good to you here. Deeply listening to yourself, and then letting the movements that you choose to take really come from you, as opposed to whatever it is that I might be saying. So using this practice as a way to cultivate deep listening of yourself here. Welcome to stay in this exploration of cat-cow if you like. Otherwise, I'll suggest we meet in child's pose. So to come into this posture, take your knees to the wide edge of the mat and the big toes to touch. And then really slowly just drape your torso down over the mat. Let the forehead come to rest. If that's not feeling great, option to take the knees all the way together to touch, and then let the torso rest on the thighs. That's a nice option, in particular if your forehead is really far away from the mat. So just taking some nice long grounding breaths here in child's pose, really feeling the breath begin in the belly and then travel up into that space in between your shoulder blades here. Cultivating throughout your practice this really long inhale and equally long exhale, knowing that that is sending a message to your brain to relax and that you're safe, even if your mind is not necessarily in that same place. Knowing that by simply deeply breathing for the next 40 minutes or so, you are doing yourself such a great service. Option to stay here longer in your child's. Otherwise, if you feel ready, find your tabletop again. And this time, take the ball of your left foot back and just find a simple rock and roll. I'm offering this as a way to just diagnostically check in with the hamstring. Just noticing what the condition of the hamstring is today. So on a breath in, go ahead and take your left knee back to center. And then on a breath out, take the ball of the right foot back. And again, just simple rock and roll to notice what type of muscle am I bringing into my practice today. From here, breath in, bring the left knee back to center. And then from here, I'm going to offer a downward facing dog. So as you come into this posture, really intentionally setting the palms about shoulder width, wanting your fingertips to face the front of the mat, and then all parts of the palm, the knuckles, the fingertips, all parts of the palm grounding into the mat. All of these are intended to help you protect your wrists. From here, take the feet about hips width, tuck the toes, and then slowly lift the hips, ease the hips back, downward facing dog, maybe paddling it out here, bringing one heel and then the other closer to the mat. And just taking any movements that are going to help make this posture feel a little bit warm in your body. So maybe flowing into high plank, and then slowly taking it back into downward facing dog. Sometimes I like to come high onto the balls of my feet, and then on an exhale, drop my heels over to the left, just to stretch out the side body. And then dropping the heels over to the opposite side if that would feel nice. Breath in, come on back to center. This time on an exhale, really slowly walk your hands to your feet at the back of the mat. So finding a forward fold at the back of the mat. And again, check in with the hamstrings. Might feel really nice to take a deep bend in the knees. Might feel better to lessen the bend. Hands can hang. Opposite hand to opposite shoulder might feel good. Or if you're looking for a shoulder opener, maybe take a bind at the low back. And then let the palms just release over your head. We'll explore here for one more breath cycle. Full breath in. Full breath out. From here, we'll flow into flat back. So to find this, on a breath in, take the palms somewhere underneath the kneecaps. And then grow the crown of your head long toward the front of your mat. Gaze is right at the mat to keep that long, neutral neck. And then on an exhale, cascade forward like a wave. Breath in, find your longest, straightest flat back, really coordinating that with the deepest point of your inhale. And on an exhale, let it go, forward fold. Last time, flowing through, breath in, flat back. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. From here, a little bit different. On a breath in, take the hands to the tops of the knees and give yourself this moment of transition, not wanting to feel dizzy or any shortness of breath as we move into mountain. As you feel ready, on a breath in, reach the arms forward and up, bend the knees, rise on up, extended mountain pose. Arms are reaching long from the waist to the fingertips. Feet are grounding down into the mat. Maybe even rock side to side so you can feel into all corners of your feet here, really feeling supported, grounded, steady. And then on an exhale, release the palms by your sides, pinky fingers rotate in. This beautifully open chest and open heart here in this posture. Staying here for a full breath in, full breath out. And if your attention is wandering, this is where you get to reconnect with intention. Maybe this idea of letting your attention be held and captivated by how breath and body move here. Option to hang here longer if you like. Otherwise, on a breath in, reach the arms up high. On an exhale, bend, hinge, and fold, forward fold. Breath in, flat back, gaze at the mat. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. Breath in, bend the knees, rise on up, slow, take your time. Exhale, hands come to heart center this time, linking your thumb knuckles on top of each other and then nestling them right in between your breastbones so that you can reconnect with your beating heart here. Staying here for a full breath in and a full breath out. Breath in, arms reach, and then on an exhale, hinging from the hips, let it go, forward fold. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. Last half sun here. Breath in, bend the knees, rise on up, taking your time, honoring your pace as opposed to the pace I might be setting. From here, breath in, arms reach. Exhale, bend, hinge, fold. Nice full release here. A little different here. Breath in, walk the palms forward, right back into your downward facing dog. Again, maybe paddling out the feet here. From here, on a breath in, flow forward, high plank. And then on an exhale, go ahead and drop the knees. On a breath in, bring your shoulders a little bit forward of your wrists. And then on an exhale, start to hinge down, letting the elbows scrape the side ribs here. Forehead rests on the mat. From here, with the palms underneath the shoulder blades, on a breath in, lift the head, lift the chest. Tops of the feet are grounding into the mat, pelvis grounding into the mat, just waking up the low back here. One more big breath in. Breath out, let it go. Option to stay with this variation, or maybe float the palms here. Breath in, lift the head, lift the chest. Again, just waking up the low back here. One more big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Make a little pillow for your hands. So one palm on top of the other, letting one cheek rest. Maybe resting in stillness or windshield wiping the legs side to side. Just noticing what would feel better, movement or stillness. Here for one more big breath in. And then on an exhale, take the palms underneath your shoulders. Breath in, take yourself back to child's pose. Give yourselves a few minutes to rest here in child's pose. And know that all of those back bends are fabulous alternatives to upward facing dog, particularly if the low back is just not feeling so great. Option to hang out here as long as you like in child's pose. Otherwise, on a breath in, go ahead and lift the hips. We'll find downward dog. Breath in, bend the knees, look forward. Step walk or hop to the top of your mat, taking your time. Breath in, find your flat back. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. Breath in, bend the knees, rise on up, extended mountain pose. This time, option to reach the thumbs toward the back of the room, lifting from the heart as opposed to the low back, baby back bend here. Breath in, come on back to center. Exhale, hands come through heart center as you hinge and fold. Breath in, flat back, feel into that beautiful length. Maintain the length in the back as you step back through your high plank. Breath in, shift the shoulders forward of the wrists. Exhale, lower down to hover. Breath in, tops of the feet, upward facing dog. This is where you might take those other back bends. And then on an exhale, from strength, hinge it back. Downward facing dog. From here, I'm going to invite everyone on a breath in to flow forward into high plank. And then from here, draw your attention to your belly button, your low belly. And then on an exhale, cut the speed in half. Move super slow. Lift the hips. Take it back. Down dog. Feeling that that hinge from up dog to down dog comes from core, it comes from strength. Breath in, bend the knees, look forward, step, walk, or hop to the top of your mat, taking your time. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, release, forward fold. Breath in, bend the knees, rise on up, extended mountain pose. Exhale, bend, hinge, fold, full release. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, step back, high plank. You choose, lowering down to your degree, taking the heart opener of your choice. Exhale from core, landing yourself right back. Downward facing dog, last sun A. Breath in, bend the knees. Walk, step, or hop to the front of your mat. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. Breath in, bend the knees, rise on up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, step it back, high plank. Lowering down to your degree. Breath in, heart opener. Exhale from core, ease it back. Downward facing dog. Stay here for a full breath in. And on an exhale, walk your hands to your feet at the back of the mat one more time. Sort of second time in forward fold here. If your hamstrings are feeling ready for it, maybe walk the palms underneath the soles of the feet. And if that's not feeling great, option to take opposite hand to opposite elbow. Maybe simply letting the arms hang, or again, perhaps taking that bind to open up the shoulders. You know, knowing that you are in charge of all the choices that you make here. One more big breath in. And on an exhale, taking your time, walk your palms right back into downward facing dog. From here, on a breath in, float the right leg high. Option to stay here, or maybe start to just open up the hip, taking some hip circles, just getting some fluid, moving to that joint, getting it ready to move. Breath in, come on back to center. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, stay here for a moment. And then from here, step the right foot forward to the right wrist. Take a peek back at your left foot, wanting it to be off towards the left side of your mat so that your feet are on train tracks here. Space between the feet. From here, slowly, on a breath in, rise on up, crescent lunge. On an exhale, take your palms to your hips for a minute. And then give yourself a little self-assist. So shifting your right hip back and your left hip forward so that the hips are beautifully square to the front of the room. If your arms are tired, option to keep them right here. Otherwise, if you'd like to expand and grow, lift the fingertips high, finding steadiness here in this posture. If it's feeling wobbly, maybe step the back foot in a bit. One more big breath in. Full breath out. From here, on a breath in, straighten into both legs. And on an exhale, spin the back toes down 45 degrees. Find a bend in the front knee once again, finding your warrior one legs. So in warrior one, your hips are still square to the front of the room. So if you need to step in the back foot a bit so you can still find that squareness of the hips that you had in crescent, go ahead. Gaze is straight ahead. Arms can rest on the hips or maybe lift them high. Feeling into this opening in the left side body here. Option to stay right here. Otherwise, if you like, on an exhale, find your cactus arms. lifting from the chest as though there was a string sort of pulling your heart forward. If it's crunching the low back, come on back. Option to stay here in this variation, or if you like, maybe find a bind by interlacing your palms at the low back. On a breath in, offer up the heart any amount. And then on an exhale, find your humble warrior as you also hug your right hip back and in, letting the right shoulder come to the inside of the right knee. Staying here for a full breath in, and on an exhale, releasing both palms to frame the front foot. Wiggle your back left toes to find a runner's lunge. From here, ground the left palm down, and on a breath in, reach the right palm up, finding a twist here. Stay for one breath in. On an exhale, windmill the top arm down and step right back into your high plank. You choose, hinge to down dog, maybe child, or perhaps take it through a vinyasa. Exhale, landing you in whatever posture you have chosen. And then give yourself a full breath cycle here in this down dog to wipe away any expectations you might have for the opposite side. Breath in, lift the left leg high. Option to stay here, or maybe take some hip circles. Again, just getting that hip ready to move. Squaring the hips here on a breath in. Exhale, hug the left knee into the chest. And then as you're ready, step the left foot forward to the left wrist. Peek back at your right toes, looking for those train track feet. And on a breath in, slowly with control, rise up, crescent lunge. And if it's feeling a little wobbly, step the back foot in. Maybe grab onto the wall. Looking for the feet to be apart here. Steadying your gaze right ahead. If the arms are really fatigued, simply release them to the hips. Looking for that scissoring action in the legs. So maybe help yourself find that by shifting your left hip back and encouraging your right hip forward. It's just one more big breath in. Full breath out. From here, on a breath in, arms reach, straighten both legs. And on an exhale, right toes spin down about 45 degrees. Again, hips are still square to the front of the room. So if you need to step in the right foot to find that, feel free. Hands can rest on the hips. Hands might lift high. Big breath in. Exhale, maybe find your cactus arms lifting from the chest and the heart. And if it doesn't feel great, return to the previous option. Option to stay here with cactus arms. Or if you like, find a bind at the low back. Interlace your hands the opposite way, just for symmetry in the body. Breath in, lift the chest. Exhale, as you hug the left hip back and in, find your humble warrior. Staying here for a breath in. And on an exhale, release palms to frame both sides of the left foot. Wiggle the back foot back, runner's lunge. Right palm grounds down, left palm reaches up, finding a twist here. Stay here for one breath in. Exhale, release the left palm, step it back, high plank. And then from here, you choose vinyasa, down dog, child's pose, all options. And then wherever you land, give yourself the gift of a full, deep, long inhale. Full, deep, long exhale. From here, breath in, bend the knees, look forward, step walker, hop to the top of your mat. Breath in, flat back. Exhale, let it go, forward fold. Breath in, bend the knees, rise on up, extended mountain pose. On an exhale, hands rest by your sides, eyes closed if that feels okay. And you just notice how all of that movement has landed in your body. Maybe noticing what, if anything, that did for the pace and quality of your thoughts here. I'm just going to stay here reflecting right here in stillness if that feels like the place to be. Otherwise, we'll move into dancer pose. So to come into this posture, on a breath in, Float the left foot into the left hand. And you'll want to grab for the inside edge of the left foot, letting your thumb rest on the middle of the ball of the left foot. Right palm can rest right on the waist. If this is already feeling wobbly, this is a great place to stay. Otherwise, if you are feeling ready for a little more, on a breath in, maybe try floating the right palm high and maybe stop here. Otherwise, take a preparatory bend in the right knee, and then on a breath in, start to push the left foot forward, or not forward, press the left foot into the left hand. Right palm reaches right ahead, gazes straight ahead. Big breath in. Stay for a breath out. Fullest expression of the pose. Big breath in. Exhale, slow, steady, bring it back to center. Release the foot, arms reach high. Exhale, arms come right by the sides. Just taking a gentle sway side to side here, letting all of the strength that you had to cultivate in that left leg release here. And from here, we'll take it on the other side. So on a breath in, float the right leg up into the right palm, reaching for the inside edge of that foot, letting the thumb rest on the ball of the right foot. And then the left palm can come right to the waist for steadiness, maybe to a wall. Option to work right here. Otherwise, maybe if you like, on a breath in, lift the left arm high. And then stay for the exhale and notice if this is it for you. Maybe this is the peak pose today. Otherwise, if you like, on a breath in, start to kick the right foot into the right palm. Left palm is reaching long toward the front of the room, gaze is straight ahead. Just letting your breath move with the wiggles here. Cultivating strength, balance in the body. One more big breath in. Exhale, slowly come back to center. Release the right foot, arms reach high, big breath in. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Just reconnecting with beating heart here. And then from here, take your feet to the wide edge of the mat, heels face out, heels face in, toes face out. Then on an exhale, start to sink and settle right into Malasana. If this is just feeling like too much on the hips, really lovely place for your blocks. Just making a little stool for yourself. And then in Malasana, looking for the elbows to make contact with the knees so that you can lift and really leverage yourself here, crown of the head reaching long, as opposed to kind of schlumping in this posture. Maybe close the eyes if that feels good. Also welcome to keep them open. Just cultivating that long, deep breath here. Trying to match that, align that with an equally long exhale. And know that you are welcome to stay here in Malasana as long as feels appropriate. If you are ready to move on and you've got blocks, go ahead and take them to the side. And then from here, we'll spend some time in boat pose. So to come into this posture, take the soles of your feet to the ground, setting them about hips width. And then reach underneath the thighs. On a breath in, lift the left toes, and then lift the right toes, finding this bony place where you can kind of balance. And if this is already feeling like quite a challenge, hang out right here. Otherwise, if you'd like to add more, maybe take the palms facing up to keep the chest open. And this might be a good place to work. Otherwise, if you would like to maybe play with straightening the legs any amount, that might be something you try. Shaking is always fabulous. From here, you might choose to add some movement. So if you like, on a breath in, arms reach, feet lower. Exhale, hug it into center. Breath in, arms reach, feet lower. Exhale, hug it into center. Last little bit of work here. Breath in, arms reach. Exhale, hug it into center. Last bit here. Breath in, arms reach. Exhale, hug it into center. Let the soles of the feet come to the ground for a minute. Just a little recovery, a little bit of rest. One more set, just like that. Reach for underneath the thighs. Left foot comes up, right foot comes up. Breath in, straighten. Exhale, come on back to center. Breath in here. Exhale, back to center. Breath in, lengthen. Exhale, back to center. This time, take your hands to prayer mudra at the chest. And on an exhale, take your right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Breath in, come on back to center. Exhale, left elbow outside of right knee. Breath in, back to center. Exhale, twist. Breath in, back to center. Exhale, twist. Breath in, back to center. Exhale, twist. Last one. Breath in, back to center. Exhale, twist. Breath in, back to center. Lengthen out and take your time. Go slow. Lower all the way down. If this feels okay on the low back, rest right here. Otherwise, step the soles of the feet back towards you. And then from here, hug the knees into the chest. Just rocking side to side here. Just giving your lower back a massage. These circles with the knees in together might feel nice. Might feel even better to circle the knees out from one another and in toward one another. And then from here, I'll suggest we meet in happy baby. So if you want to come along for that, reach for the inside edges of the feet and then pull the knees any amount towards you. Trying to keep the sacrum, the lower back, grounded on the mat. And again, notice if stillness is just absolutely the best place for you to be. Or maybe some rocking over the sacrum would feel better, and maybe you're not sure. So, try out both and just follow what feels best to you. Option to stay here in this happy baby as long as feels good. Otherwise, release the soles of the feet down to the mat. And then we'll take a series of bridge poses here. So reach down to tickle your heels. And then ground the forearms and the palms onto the mat. And on the breath in, push into the palms, push into the forearms, push into the feet to lift the hips. Nice release for those front hip points after all of that work in bow, or boat pose rather. Pushing the shoulder blades into the ground here. Not dumping the weight into the head and the neck. Letting the push come from the shoulder blades, the forearms, the palms, and the feet. One more breath in, maybe to lift the hips a little higher. And then on an exhale, lower your spine down as though it were a string of pearls, just pearl by pearl, taking your time. So option to stay with that variation of forearms and palms pressing into the mat. Otherwise, this time, if you like, on a breath in, lift the hips, and then wiggle the shoulder blades underneath one another, finding an interlace of the palms at the low back. Again, pushing into the shoulders, the finger knuckles, and the tops of the, not the tops of the feet, and the bottoms of the feet, not the head and the neck. One more big breath in. And then on an exhale, unwiggle the shoulders, lower the spine down, just like treating it so preciously. Last back bend here. Breath in, lift the hips. Maybe keep the forearms and the palms on the ground. Maybe find an opposite interlace of the palms. And wiggle the shoulder blades underneath the low back. Hips are lifting, knees are in line with the hips as opposed to splaying out to the side. One more big breath in. Exhale, slowly lower the spine down. From here, we'll take Supta Baddha Konasana if that seems like a nice place to meet up. Take the soles of the feet together. Let the knees release out to the sides. Palms can rest on the belly. Maybe take cactus arms by bending the elbows and letting them just rest by your sides. Welcome to stay here as long as you like. Otherwise, take your palms to the outside of your legs, close your knees together, On a breath in, hug the knees into center, pick the hips up, shift them over to the right, but drop them over to the left to find a spinal twist. Left palm can rest on the tops of the right knee. Right palm can rest on the rib cage. Nice anchor to breath here. Just noticing how the breath moves so differently in the body in a twist. And if in these quieter moments of practice, thoughts tend to dominate your experience, just recall your intention here. And if that just feels inaccessible, just tune into sensation. Where is this posture most deeply felt in your body? And letting your attention rest there as opposed to any other thought. I'm going to stay on this side for as long as feels good. Otherwise, on a breath in, invite the knees back to center. Give the spine a minute here. And then as you feel ready, on a breath in, hug the knees into the chest. Shift them over to the left, but drop them over to the right. Right palm can come to rest on top of the right knees. Left palm can rest right on the rib cage. Just tracing the journey of your breath here in this twist. And again, you are welcome to stay on this side as long as feels appropriate. Otherwise, on a breath in, bring the knees back to center. Give the spine a minute to reset here. Then I'll suggest as a final posture before Shavasana that we take an inversion. If you are without a block, simply sending your legs up the wall or maybe even against the wall might feel nice. If you have a block, on a breath in, lift the hips. And on an exhale, settle the block down underneath the sacrum. So that's that same bony part of the back that you found balance in your boat pose. So shifting the block up or down until it just feels beautifully supportive as opposed to jabby. Many options for the hands. Maybe let the hands reach up to the sky, even circling out the wrist. Perhaps hand on the belly feels really supportive. Or maybe just arms out long by your sides, palm up. And if it feels okay, let the eyes close. And again, notice if being in stillness is exactly what is in order. Otherwise, maybe circling out the ankles would feel good. Maybe flexing the feet toward you and away from you. You're welcome to spend as much time here as you like. Know that Shavasana is next. And so many ways you might set that up. It might feel good to lie on the back with the arms and legs out long. It might feel nice to finish in an easy seat just as you begin your practice. So moving into Shavasana, as you feel ready, be grabbing an extra layer. From here, take a deep breath in. Long breath out the mouth. And really rest in the knowledge that you might finish your practice exactly as you are, especially if you're on your back and you don't feel like moving. Otherwise, if you do know that you would like to finish in a seat, step the soles of the feet back towards you. Drop the knees over to the right, curl up into a little ball here. Just taking a minute to seal in your practice, to reflect on all that it held for you, reconnecting with intention here. Maybe committing to carry your practice with you off your mat into the world. Taking your time on a breath in, push yourself up to a seat, keeping the eyes closed if that feels okay. Letting the palms come to meet at heart center, one thumb knuckle over the other, again connecting with your beating heart. And just ending your practice the same way we began, with this noticing of what is present, what is maybe different in the body, in the mind, in the breath. And from here we'll bow our heads in gratitude for ourselves and for each other. Namaste.